Special shout out to all my patrons. Yellow.
Red, green, what's up, bro?
What's poppin'? What are you here to talk about?
Just looking at these questions, man, and it's like you guys designed this, right? You do this on purpose, right? You
Do what on?
design it for it to be like that. Like these aren't your actual thoughts,
Yes,
right?
they are.
Oh, you're serious.
Yes.
So you think that a trans man or a trans woman is a man or a woman?
Correct.
Okay, so if a trans woman is a woman, then why do I have to call it a trans woman? Why do I have to say
Trans is
trans in
just a
front of it?
describing word if you're separating them it's the same reason why we call black women black women. It's an adjective.
No,
So when I
no,
have a
no,
group
no,
of
no,
women,
no,
don't interrupt
no,
me.
no, no, no,
Don't
no, no,
interrupt me.
no.
Don't interrupt me.
You're taking out.
No, I'm
You're
not.
taking out.
It's an
Trans
adjective.
means something.
It's an
Black means
adjective.
a color. Trans isn't a color. It isn't a. It means to change.
Do
Like
you
they
not know what
change.
adjectives are?
Okay, sir, a color is an adjective. Yes, black is an adjective.
Yes,
Trans
because it
woman.
describes. Trans
Okay,
describes.
it,
Black,
it
when we
describes
put,
what?
it describes what type of woman they are. Just like black would describe what type of woman they are. Just like tall would describe what type of woman they are. Just like
No,
short would describe what type of
you're
women they
misusing
are.
the word trans. The word trans just doesn't refer to gender. It's a prefix to a word meaning something. You know
When
what I'm
we
saying? It
put
means to
trans in
change.
front of women, we're just shortening the word transgender to trans. That's it.
Right.
It's
And
a
the
prefix
transmission in
to
your car, there's a
transgender.
reason it's called a transmission. It's something moving into something. You get what I'm saying? It's
What?
moving.
No. What
So
does
it's
trans
so
mean? What does
a
trans
trans
actually
woman
mean?
would
Because that's
be
not what it means.
okay. This is okay. Look, I'll put it like this, and you'll be able to agree. A woman cannot be a trans woman.
A cis woman
A,
can't be
a,
a
a
trans woman,
woman
sure.
a woman cannot have an operation or take whatever to be a trans woman. You have to be a you have to be a man to become a trans woman, right?
You have to be male.
Okay, all right. You have to be male to become a trans woman. So
Sure.
at that point, because you had to become something that you believe that you are, because you had to become that, you are officially you're transitioning into it. Transitioning genders. That's what you're doing. You're going
Trans
from
just
one
means on
you're
the
going from
opposite
one
side of.
right. So you're
That's
going
the
from
that's the
one
literal
to the
definition.
other, which
Yes, you're
which
on the opposite.
literally
When we say, I'll break it down for you. It's
which
really easy.
literally means that
It's
it's not
it's
what
really
you
easy,
say
and
it
I can break
is.
it down for you. It's like super easy. So when we say someone is a trans woman, we're saying they're a transgender woman. We're shortening transgender to just trans because it's just an adjective. We're saying this is the type of
Right.
woman they are. They are a woman who is transgender. When we have the word transgender, we can break that up. You have trans, which means on the opposite side of, and gender. So you are on the opposite side of the gender you were assigned at birth. So that means if you're born a male, and you were assigned the gender man at birth, you're on the opposite side of that, and you now identify with the gender of woman. That does not mean you're not a woman. It's just a describing word. We only say trans when we're having the larger conversation about trans people and cis people together. But if I have 100 women just sitting in a stadium and 30 of them happen to be trans, I wouldn't
Then they're
say
trans
I
women.
wouldn't say hi women and trans women. I would just say hello 100 women because I don't need to separate them at that point. But if I'm looking at my 100 women, I'm saying I have 30 who are transgender and 70 who are cisgendered. I would separate them when I'm only talking about their gender identity. But because I'm not doing that, I would just call them women. It's super
But who
simple.
shows up to anything and says, "Hi, ladies and 10 gentlemen"? They just address everybody who may be in the crowd. You know what I'm saying? So if you're there and you know that there are transgender people in the crowd, then you need to respect them and call them that. Because I just left a live with somebody named Nikki Cherie, and she's or they are a transgender person.
It's
They are
very
a man.
interesting that you said
They,
their
they are.
proper
They're. I
pronouns
just
first and then like willed
because
yourself
I'm
to be
trying to be I'm
incorrect.
trying to be respectful. That's one thing I don't want to do. Just because I don't agree with it, I don't want to be disrespectful.
Well,
You know
you
what
were
I'm saying? If
correct
you
the
guys
first
want to,
time though,
I don't like
and
when
then you
people call
switched it
me
up.
sis. I would like the whole sis thing to stop. I think that's another thing. But I was just in a live with this person, and they're a trans woman, and they said that trans women are trans women. And I said, why? I said, why is everybody else trying to say that a trans woman is a woman, but you're saying as a trans woman that trans women are trans women? And they told me I had to do so much to do this. This was a whole journey for me to be able to do what I'm doing right now. And I've had to go through so much. Why would I drop the title? Why would I do it? And I said, man, that's so amazing. I commend you for that because there's people out here that weren't born as women who are altering their body through surgeries and medicine and trying to say that they're women
You
and just trying to
recognize that?
just trying to get
Wait,
us to drop
do
the
you
part that is trans, that you became a woman through surgery and medicine. I mean, why would you not want to have that attached to your name? You
do
did
you
that.
do you
You did
recognize?
that.
So here let's walk through this because I have a feeling I feel like you're just kind of, I won't say ignorant on the topic, but a little ignorant on the topic. So, first of all, trans people are not a monolith. So, one person does not speak for all of trans identity. So, just because that one person believes that, they should go by the moniker of trans women, a lot of trans women think differently because they don't want to be separated from women, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to exhibit their gender identity in this category of gender, this social category, and not be singled out. Right? They want
So if
to
I think that
exist
I'm a
in this
cat, if I
category.
think that I'm a cat and I really
Thinking
feel
you are
that
a
way,
different species is different than thinking that you are a different gender, because species is
um,
not a social construct. Gender is socially crafted and created and changes very consistently between different societies and cultures. That's why
really,
some cultures have three genders. Like indigenous tribes have three genders. They just always recognize that there are three genders. If you went up to them, somebody who was like indigenous and like from specific tribes, and said, no, there's only two genders, men and women, they would look at you like you're stupid, because to them, that's not true. Never has been true, never will be true. So
okay,
it's totally a social and cultural thing. So what is the
okay.
issue with somebody identifying differently with that social and cultural identity? What's the issue with that?
I'll show you. I'll show you the difference. What's the difference between a child's brain and an adult's brain?
Development.
Development. So you would say that a youth brain is not as developed as an adult brain.
Yeah, sure.
So do you think that youth and adult people should be able to make the same decisions?
Depending on the decision and depending on if the decision is with informed consent. Yeah.
Okay, so what about a long lasting decision? Something that's going to last a long time.
Such as
Anything that's going to last a long time.
that, give me a thing.
We're talking about kids. I mean, anything that you can think of that's going to last a long time. Do you think that kid should be able to make that decision?
Depending on the decision and depending on if they have informed consent.
Okay, gender affirming care.
Yeah, I absolutely
Should
think
a
trans youth
child
should
be
be able to
able
have
to
gender affirming care. Yeah.
make that opinion? Huh?
Well, children don't make the opinion by themselves. They make the opinion. They make
Uh,
the decision based on recommendations from their doctors, therapists, and parents. They're not just
so
waking up
ain't
one day and
nobody
going, "I
doctor.
want." Hold on, hold
Nobody's
on.
going to the
Hold
doctor
on. Don't
and they're
interrupt
like,
me.
"Let me
Hold
take
on.
your
Don't
blood," and
interrupt
they're
me.
like, "Hey, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're homosexual." Nobody's doing that at the doctor.
That's
It's not
not what
happening.
I. That's quite literally not what I just said. What I said is they make these decisions with their doctors and their therapists and their parents. They're not going to the doctors to be diagnosed with having a different sexuality. However, a doctor
Yes,
can
they
diagnose
are.
them. Stop.
That's
A
what they're
doctor
going
can
for.
diagnose them with gender dysphoria. That you can get a diagnosis for, because that's on the DSM-5. But they're not being
Bro,
diagnosed
I've
with
been
like
I've been to
being
the doctor my
transgender.
entire life. They've never asked me if I wanted a test for gender dysphoria.
Because you've
Ever.
never expressed discomfort in your gender. So why would they
But
ask you that? If I go to the doctor to get my blood drawn to test for whatever, the doctor's not going to ask if I want chemotherapy, because I've never expressed any cancer symptoms. Like, that's not how doctors work.
right.
Come on, dude.
Right. So if you so I'm believing and I could be wrong, but I'm believing that
You are.
people who get this care are people who already want this care. Nobody goes in and they're like, "I'm sorry, we're going to have to give you gender affirming care. And they're like, no, nobody's like
Correct.
that.
You
Right.
can't be
Nobody's
forced
like that.
into medical care. Yes, you only get
Right.
the
So they
care
go
if you
in with
express the want for it.
Right. They go in with the care. So anybody who expresses the want for the care can receive it. And so what I'm
No,
saying is
it is
how
very there. If we're talking about specific types of gender affirming care, so like medical intervention types, those you can't just get because you want it. You have to meet specific criteria in order to be eligible to receive that care.
I'm sorry, bro. I grew up in Atlanta. There's a high school called Tri-Cities High School. I went to Douglas High School on the west side, but there's a high school called Tri-Cities. And let me mind you, I graduated in 2008. In 2004, this high school was known as the place to go. The Tri-Cities was. It was known as the place to go if you wanted to have a same-sex relationship. That was Tri-Cities.
I
That
don't.
was
Why do we keep
just what
bringing
it.
up? Why do we keep bringing up
So
same-sex
so
couples? We're talking about gender,
so
not
what
sexuality.
I'm bringing it up for because these young people were doing so many things to be able to cross gender and change over.
This
You can't
isn't.
tell
What are
me
you
that,
talking about?
and
Gender? Where you
they
brought up
weren't going to
sexuality, not
some
gender.
doctor, bro. They weren't going to. They
You
weren't
do
going to getting
not
some.
understand how gender dysphoria is diagnosed. You just don't have
What
enough
I'm telling
knowledge on
you
this
is they weren't.
conversation.
There was these kids didn't have that type of money to be
You
able
didn't
to
bring
go to
up
these
trans kids,
doctors,
you
bro.
brought up gay kids. That's a whole different thing.
It's the same
It's not.
freaking
You don't go to a
thing.
doctor to be gay. You just be gay. What are you talking about? But you do have to go to a
What?
doctor for medically in like medical advised gender affirming care. That you do have to go to a doctor for because it's medicine. You don't go to a doctor to be gay. You just kiss a boy and then you're gay.
So
What?
wait. So okay. You know what, bro? You know what? I mean, you know what, family? Sorry to call you, bro. I am going to admit something to you, Jovan. I just learned something right now, and that's what this is about. Um, I thought that I was solid. Okay. So there's a difference, and I'm not being funny or nothing. I promise you, there's a difference between a gay person and a trans person.
Yes, a giant difference. You didn't know that?
What the heck? Okay, what's the difference?
So, gay people, I can't believe I have to describe this. Gay people have sexual attraction to genders opposite them typically, or you could fall on any spectrum of sexual attraction to fall on like a queer spectrum, right? You could be gay, you could be bi, you could be lesbian, you could be pansexual, you could be asexual. You fit all these molds of sexuality. A transgender person is somebody who does not align with the gender identity that they were born in. These people could have no attraction to any gender. These people could be attracted to the gender that they identify as, which would make them gay. They could be attracted to the opposite gender, which would make them straight. Gay and trans have nothing to do with each other except that they're all under the same moniker of like LGBTQIA+. But they are separate things. One is who you're attracted to, one is the gender you identify as.
One is who you're attracted to. One is the gender that you identify as. So if I was a man who wanted to become a woman to sleep with women,
Why would you need to
I don't
become a
know.
woman to sleep with women? Just sleep with
I
women.
mean, this has been happening, bro. It's
No
TikTok.
one's doing it to sleep with. Nobody's becoming trans to sleep with women. Now, here's the thing: if you were born and the gender prescribed to you at birth was man, and you identify later in life as a woman, and you are into woman, you'd be a gay trans woman. But if you identify as a woman and you're into men, you'd be a straight trans woman.
Why
I don't
can't
know
it
why this
just
is so
be?
hard for you.
I don't. I literally just learned so much right now because you're splitting up gay and trans and bisexual. So if you're bisexual, you're not gay. You're just bisexual.
Well, if you're
If you're queer, you're
bisexual,
not gay.
no, it's all everything is under like the queer monicum usually. But if you're bi, it just means you're attracted to both genders. You don't like you're
But
attracted
how
to
is that
both.
not?
You're attracted to men, you're attracted to women.
But how is that not? How is that not? How is that not gay?
Well, I never said it wasn't gay. I mean, I guess if you can look at it this way: if you're bi and you're dating a woman, You're in a, like, if you're a bi woman dating a woman, you're in a gay relationship. If you're a bi woman dating a man, you're probably in a straight, or at least a straight passing relationship. That doesn't mean you're not still gay. It just means that at the current moment, you're dating somebody who aligns with more like the heteronormative view of relationships. I don't know what's confusing about this.
Everything is confusing. I mean, why can't it just be? Why can't it just be? I don't understand why y'all are really trying to make this like a. I don't know the correct words to use because I'm trying to be respectful, man. I just it's like you have a whole ideology behind something that just isn't.
This
bro.
isn't an
Like,
ideology. That's the problem. When people go like, well, being gay is an ideology. It's not an ideology. We don't call being straight an ideology, right? We
bro,
just
a
let
woman
people be
is
attracted
a
to who they're
woman.
attracted to.
Right.
Yeah,
And
I
if a
agree.
woman
Women
is
are
attracted
women.
to a woman,
I agree.
if
Women
a
are
woman
women.
is attracted to a woman, that means that she.
I was being so respectful. I don't understand. I was being the most respectful person on the planet. Are we not even allowed to talk about? For why? For why? I was being the most respectful I've ever been. It's frustrating that I'm banned for hateful behavior. Was I doing any sort of attacks, threat? Was I promoting content that attacks, threatens, incites violence against, or dehumanizes or was I sticking up for a group?